Does anybody know anything about this tree?
Are you worried about it?
Asking the important question.
He wants to eat it.
Is it fair game? Well, hey,
Got his cup of coffee over there.
if there's no name on it and it's just out there,
I think it's for us. It's got a knife there to cut.
like at home, we've never had to, well, we haven't had to label things at home until just recently.
It's cheese toffee cake.
Has a
I
note on it
think,
that says
well, now that we
anybody
have
except-
all teenagers, like I think some Switch Flip when Lily turned 13.
Already open.
Now they're just like everything. They're just So of course, one child asked for
Oh, that's your
English
piece.
muffins. So by the time she finally gets wants an English muffin, they're all gone because they just.
Maybe
Which is fun
want to get
because
some forks?
it was Christine. She came to me and she's like,
We can-
I wanted English muffins. You got English muffins. I didn't even get one. I'm like, welcome to my
Your napkins, I
world.
can get napkins.
How many times have I come home thinking like, wow, all I really want is some of those leftovers from last night or that thing that I bought. Oh, it's gonna be so good, and I get home, it's like, no, gone.
So I take it you got hooked down the Texas tortillas.
Oh, I knew. Well, I did my vicarage in Houston, so yeah, HEB is their Meyer. But I mean, of course, it's Texas, bigger. Which I mean, HEB is actually it is a cool store, and they had really cool things like they do like whole dinner sales. So you go through and they give you like a little part of their ad was like, here's all the components for a full dinner, and it's all on sale. So you go around and you pick out, and it was all thing. But the thing was, they made daily fresh flour tortillas. They had a whole thing where they make them fresh there, and they have like regular ones. They got butter ones, and I mean they're okay when they're like cold, but when you go to the store and they're just freshly made, they put them in the bags and they're nice and warm and fluffy, and it's just I don't like flour tortillas. They're boring. But those things I can eat them straight out of the package just by themselves.
Too late.
Pastor, before I forget, yesterday we realized there are a lot of people who've moved or changed their information that Debbie is not aware of.
Okay.
So at the end of the service, when you do announcements, would you please ask people who've had any changes to put them
I'll
on the
ask.
blue card? We'll try that. Or if they're not in the directory and would like to be,
Okay. I mean, I will certainly put it out there. People are very responsive in announcements. So.
well,
And
forward to
Debbie
try.
does see them, because I was looking for an address and for,
Where yours?
no, I got that from him, but,
I'm good for something.
Carrie.
Not much.
And so she called me with Carrie's address, because she didn't have it. So, but she does see the addresses.
What do we got here? All right. Well, good morning. Got baptism this morning, so I gotta make sure we wrap it up early.
Got it?
Good morning.
What's that?
Good morning.
Good morning. Yes. It is a good morning. It's a great morning.
We are glad that he's back.
I'm thrilled to be back.
Those morning prayers.
Lighting.
Yeah, sorry.
luck.
Sorry about that. It'll be better this week. So today, the message is based off of the gospel reading. This is when the Sadducees come with their question about the resurrection. That's a fun little text. The Old Testament reading from Exodus is what Jesus points them back to, Moses in the burning bush. So, it's great text. There's plenty of good stuff to work with in there. The second read, the epistle is from 2 Thessalonians. Honestly, I didn't even look at that this week, partly because I was gone all week. But then I knew I was going to be preaching on the gospel, so I'm like, But, it's a good text too. But then the gospel is kind of the focal point. So unless you wanted to look at one of those other two, could point out some fun things about the gospel. And this always comes up because the thing about angels and marriage and the afterlife. So I always have to either calm people down or, whatever. So the whole thing is keyed off of the Sadducees coming to Jesus. And Luke doesn't, I think this is the only time they're mentioned in Luke, and he just says that they deny there's a resurrection. And I'll give you the brief recap in the sermon. But the Sadducees were, they were the elites, so they had money. They were pro-Rome. They were in charge of the temple, so they oversaw. They oversaw all the temple operations and all that. So, when Jesus comes in and tosses people out and turns all the tables over, so yeah, they're not thrilled. They're not exactly thrilled with Jesus. They are big parts of the Sanhedrin, which is the council that oversaw Jesus' trial. The Sanhedrin was composed of different groups of people, but the Sadducees were kind of the big guys. You had Sadducees in the Sanhedrin, you had Pharisees, you had some other guys in there. So you've got an interesting group of people where the Pharisees are usually the villains, and they're essentially the Pharisees are just pastors, typical bad guys. They knew a lot. People turned to them for religious guidance and understanding, because that was their thing. Sadducees not so much. They only held to the first 5 books of the Old Testament, so the Pentateuch. So basically, anything that happened outside of those 5 books, they didn't care about. They didn't hold to. So if it happened, or if the prophets talked about it, we don't follow any of that. So because of that, although you kind of you look at something like Abraham and the angels the angels that go to Lot and Sodom. Well, for whatever reason, the Sadducees don't believe in angels, they don't believe in the existence of angels, and they don't believe in a resurrection. And that's the big deal.
Is that all they say about them, is what they don't believe?
Yeah, that's our go-to. They were proto-Lutherans. They're really good at saying what we don't believe. Anyway, that's a whole side topic. Well, and honestly, it's not just Lutherans. People in general, Christians, I'll speak for us. We're really good at pointing out what we don't believe or what we believe against. And then when it comes to well, tell me what you do believe. Give me a testimony or a witness of your faith. And we're like, Jesus? It's like, awesome. So yeah, we just get a little bit of what they don't believe. But, so they don't believe in the resurrection, and that's what this whole thing is about. And we know this because Luke points it out. They bring this hypothetical to Jesus. So the idea is, teacher, Moses wrote for us that if a man's brother dies, having a wife but no children, the man must take the widow and raise up offspring for his brother. Now there were 7 brothers. First took a wife, died without children. The second, the third, likewise, all 7 left no children and died. Afterward, the woman also died. In the resurrection, therefore, whose wife will the woman be? For the 7 had her as wife. So, what Jesus says afterwards usually gets people all focused on marriage and the resurrection. Because what he says is, the sons of this age marry and are given in marriage. But those who are considered worthy to attain to that age and to the resurrection from the dead, neither marry nor are given in marriage. For they cannot die anymore, because they are equal to angels and are sons of God, being sons of the resurrection. Okay. Then he says, but that the dead are raised, we'll get to that. But usually people hear that and they're like, oh, what does this mean? Am I married in the resurrection? Am I free to date? What does that mean? So we get all bound up with this whole question about marriage. And because the Sadducees' example deals with marriage, it's like, marriage. Nothing to do with marriage. This is all about resurrection. Luke signposts it for you. He says, they deny the resurrection, so what do? They ask Jesus about the resurrection. So they're not seeking wisdom. They're not coming to Jesus to be like, hey, we have a difference of opinion. Give us your point of view. I mean, this is a gotcha kind of question. They think they're all like, oh, okay. I mean, remember, Jesus has gone in and, they're not fans of Jesus. And forget anything else, all this other stuff. I mean, at the very least, Jesus is very popular and is drawing a lot of people to him. The Sadducees, their whole thing is power. Well, I don't know if you've ever noticed, but people who have a lot of power don't like it when somebody else comes and wants to take away that power.
Yep.
It's been my observation. Maybe your mileage may vary with that one. But, so, even just everything else set aside, they're not going to like Jesus anyway. So this is like a gotcha thing, and they're going to use Moses. Because Moses is fair game. He's in the first 5 books, right? So Moses, he's a big guy. He's the one. He's the lawgiver. He gave us the law. He led the people out of bondage. I mean, Moses is the deliverer, right? He's the guy. So what they're saying is like, look, Moses gave us this levirate marriage law, which basically said if a woman is married to a guy, he dies and they don't have children, his brother has to take her as wife and bear children for his brother. And if he dies without kids, then it just like goes on throughout brothers until no more brothers. So they present this scenario, which could happen, very possible scenario. And so their main point is like, well, Moses, what they're suggesting is Moses didn't believe in a resurrection. Because if he had, he would have made this weird law. Because the thing is, if Moses believed in a resurrection, he's setting up a terrible scenario. Because when he gets to the resurrection, whose wife is it? Which is like, okay, sure, why not? So their thesis or their idea here is Moses didn't believe in a resurrection, therefore there is no resurrection. What say you? And so they are trying to kind of try to get Jesus to say something where he's like, well, Moses was wrong. Ooh, blasphemy. So that's the premise. That's the what they're trying to do. So what Jesus says then is weird. So of this age, people marry and are given in marriage. So men and women get married now. Those who get to the resurrection, okay, neither marry nor are given in marriage. Okay. For they cannot die anymore, which I think if you just ended it there is funny because it's like, so in marriage you die? Wait, what? So death is part of this. And then because they're equal to angels, which right there, like, whoa, so we become angels. Not because they are angels or become angels, they're equal to angels, meaning they are everlasting. Angels don't die. So this age is finite. We have this institution of marriage. Okay. The resurrection, it is infinite. We are like angels in the sense that eternal. Like angels are eternal here. In this age, like right here and now, all those angels in heaven, they're not going to die. They live on forever. We are not like them. We are not like the angels right now. In the resurrection, we will be like them because we will not die. Because he says, they cannot die anymore. Okay? So he's connecting that. Cannot die anymore. They are equal to angels. They are sons of God, being sons of the resurrection. All right. So, he says this. So that connects. Oh, no. All right. They neither marry nor are given into marriage. So what does that mean for your marriage now? won't ask for anybody's opinion, because
Well, it sounds like a,
that might open you up to some.
it sounds like a
Difficult
Catholic priest
talk.
they don't marry or given in marriage. Is that why they do that?
What's that?
Based on this?
What's that? I'm sorry.
The Catholics, priests,
Oh, no, that's just
I mean, that they can't marry or
no, that's just another.
because
reason.
of this verse? Okay,
That's a different.
that's a whole different ballgame, all right.
Yeah, we can do a whole Bible study on Catholic fun.
Then again, must.
So, and the fun thing is like, okay, so does this mean there's no marriage? Well, no. Because Adam and Eve. And Jesus points to Adam and Eve as in like, hey, God created man and woman and brought them together one flesh. We see that Adam and Eve, is when God creates them together and then makes them one flesh, that is kind of the institution of this joining together, what we would call marriage. So we know that there is some kind of joining together, what we define as this. However, so what Jesus is saying though is not that like, hey, if you're married now, you're free and clear, it's a free for all in the resurrection. He's not saying that. Maybe we'll get there and it isn't though. But he's not saying that. Basically, so it's different. It's different. The marriage, the institution of marriage as we know it now, correct, it will not be like that in the resurrection. But that is to say, like, there will be no law of divorce in the resurrection. Now, this is the whole thing where even Jesus says, like, hey, look, when they ask him about divorce, and he's like, Moses gave you a law because of your sinfulness. And he said, like, Moses gave you the law that if one is unfaithful, then a certificate of divorce is allowable. Jesus isn't saying in that case, divorce is good. I mean, he's saying, like, because you guys are sinful, divorce is allowable in certain circumstances. It's this, in the same way where, you could look at the wandering in the wilderness for 40 years and be like, oh, wandering in the wilderness is a good thing because God made it happen. It's like, no, that was actually a reaction to be like, you guys are sinful people who are rejecting me, wander. Divorce is the same kind of thing. It's like, okay, you guys have screwed up so bad. I'm going to give you this, I'm going to allow this thing that is not a good thing, but at least it's going to, it's going to mitigate some of the disaster that you guys have made this.
Are you saying that in this age, Jesus referring to marriage, looking back at Adam and Eve before the fall, this is what God originally intended, and then sin came into it, and now we have all these other laws that Moses had to
Right.
put down.
That's how I
sin.
read that, yeah.
But not
So-
to throw out marriage, because God, his original intention was the one flesh.
And that's where I would go with it. Where in creation, man and woman were brought together and made one flesh. In this age, that becomes marriage. In the resurrection, it's back to one flesh again.
So before the fall, marriage wasn't for procreation.
Well, it was. I mean, it was joining together. It was
Because
man and
they
woman.
weren't gonna die.
Right. So the institution, so marriage in the here and now, it's really to kind of counteract the curse. Because the curse that Adam and Eve brought into the relationship. I mean, man and woman, husband and wife are now at odds with each other. So God says marriage in the way I created it is you are one flesh together. Sin comes and splits it apart and makes it all now a conflict. So now we have
So that's normal?
yes.
In this age.
Absolutely. So marriage, I mean, does become kind of this constrictive thing now, where it does bind you together for the good of the family. Because, I mean, well, the kind of stereotype is like men want to go sow their wild oats, right? They want to just go out and do their thing. What does marriage do? In theory, it says, no, you can't. She's your wife.
So what's the counterpart for the woman?
The woman is, for the counterpart for the woman is, the curse in that was the authority will be for her husband. So it's not just like, so she wants to dominate over the husband. Well, now it's like, no, you're together. You're not, there's no domination. It's like, it's just bringing you back together and be like, you stay here, so the man wants to go out, the woman wants to go up. So with both of them, he's like, the institution now says, brings back together. And for the good of the kids. Yeah, go forth and multiply. Now for the sake of kids, you have parents who are together, who are now supposed to, like, you both are one flesh, you love each other, you said so, you vowed this, marriage vows. Do you think vows are necessary in the resurrection?
No.
No.
Where does that put the ones that had multiple wives back in the ages?
Where's it put them? Like, in what sense? Like, was that good? No? Well, and like Solomon, who had
Right.
however many, yeah, that's not good.
Especially when you get to heaven.
Does that mean they're exempt from the resurrection?
No, I don't know. Because the only thing that exempts you from the resurrection is faith in Christ. Or, faith in, for the Old Testament, be those who believe and hold fast to the promise that God will send his Christ. For us, it's those who believe that God has sent his Christ, and that is Jesus. So that's what gets you in. Now, yeah, it's like what becomes of that.
God loved David.
Yeah.
And he had,
Yeah, well, he loves us too, and we're not.
he's gonna go to heaven. I mean, that's where God's planning on him.
Well, all that means is God is a great forgiver.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, David's a great example because he was he was a man after God's heart. He
None of
was
them were overly great.
right, but they trusted in God. Well, David did. When he was confronted with his sin, he repented. Create me a clean heart, O God. That's his
That's it.
his song. So yeah, God forgives, and so however we mess this up, there's always grace and forgiveness. So that doesn't keep us out. Now, what does that mean for like if you are divorced or happen to marry 1,000 women? Go Solomon. What does that mean in the resurrection? I mean, that I don't know. Nobody knows.
Can we back up?
No.
Back,
Sure.
well, back to creation.
Yes.
Before sin, we don't know what it really looked like. And it's kind of
Yeah.
interesting that God didn't pronounce marriage vows. I mean, he didn't,
Right.
there was no, with Abraham and Sarah, it's like, it's like you just gave one person to another and that's like, you called it good.
Yeah.
And it was different. I mean, when did we develop marriage vows as we know it today?
Well, I don't know. Probably not that long after the fall. It probably didn't take too long before they're like, we're screwing this up pretty bad. Right out of the gate, you had Cain and Abel. So, things went to hell pretty quick.
Yeah.
The fun thing about that is, when we think of, the marriage ceremony, the vows and all that, what do we say? What God has brought together, let no man separate. Well, here, that was never a concept. Separate? Who could separate the idea, like, if Adam and Eve were given, like, marriage vows, and say, and it was like, let no man separate, that's the same as them hearing, on the day of eating it, you shall surely die. It's like, what is die? Separate God? It's just like, these are such a foreign concept.
We think marriage though, I grew up thinking, marriage, keep marriage, that's the perfect union. Now you're saying back up to before the fall, and it's like, never even thought about it like that.
Well, yeah, this is the perfect version of it. This is what it should be. The institution as we know it, See, that's a good sermon. That'd be a good marriage
After
sermon
the
there.
cross, after the cross.
Marriage is a restrictive institution. It is, but I mean, it is. But I mean, for our own good. I mean, the institution of marriage as we have it now is creating boundaries that we need. I mean, why do you have to make a vow? I mean, nowadays, I mean, honestly, you look at a lot of like secular marriages, they don't like the vows, or they make their own vows, right? Like I want to delineate what my vows are to this person. You know, what are the marriage vows that we have in the church? You know, to honor, to cherish, to have and hold through sickness and health. You know, all basically like, hey, no matter what happens, it's just you and me, and we're together, and this is it. You know, and I vow that I'm going to remain in this structure. I mean, it is boundaries, it is structure, but I mean, it's what we need. I mean, we are nothing but toddlers.
We're
You
nothing
know,
but what?
Toddlers. We're a bunch of kids. We're the kids up at the children's message. You know, like woo, you know, some of them running around, whatever, and like, you know, kids need.
But since the cross, we've been forgiven when we ask for it.
Right? Oh, absolutely. But we still need boundaries.
Well,
Like
yeah.
kids need boundaries. They need structure. They don't necessarily always like it, but they need it. We're no
But
different.
you don't keep on doing things if you want to be forgiven. That's for
Well,
sure.
you know, you definitely are called away from those things. You know, there's always grace. You know, so long as you repent, you are forgiven. You know, there's always that. But I mean, we still need. You know, it's kind of the idea that like what Paul was dealing with when Christians or people were converting, and they looked at it and said like, wait, I'm free in Christ. Wait, I'm freed in Christ, so I can do whatever I want because I'm forgiven. And in fact, Paul points out that one of the arguments people had was like, hey, so God is glorified in His grace. Like you see, Jesus on the cross is the highest form of God's love, and on the cross we have forgiveness. So forgiveness is awesome. Forgiveness shows us the purest form of God, or the form. That's blasphemous. Scratch that. Okay, wipe that from the internet.
Yeah.
Shows us the most clear vision of His face. The face of God is grace and forgiveness. Great. So then they're like, So if I strive to be a little goody two shoes person, that means I need less forgiveness. Well, that means less seeing God's face. So maybe if I sin more, I get more grace. Sin more grace. People, you know what? All those people out there who are, you know, those dirty, filthy, rotten sinners, what could be a better thing for them to see than for me to join them? See me, a proper church person, engaging in all the stuff they're doing, but hey, I'm forgiven. Isn't that great? And so their idea, and now Paul says, like, why are you saying that we should abound in sin so grace abounds even more? And he says, hell no.
But it's still go and sin no more.
Right. Oh, sure, absolutely. So like we always kind of go towards this like, oh no, we don't need boundaries, we're free in Christ. Like, well, yeah, we are free in Christ. We still need boundaries. We still need the law.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure.
It
We didn't even get to
says,
Moses yet.
Neither, where it says, to the resurrection from the dead, neither marry nor are given in marriage.
Right.
So I think you're saying that Jesus isn't really talking about what, he's talking about there's going to be no further marriage or giving in marriage in the resurrection. And because then you said, in the resurrection, things will be restored in
Right.
flesh. But you still have the problem that there are people who maybe they were widowed and they got remarried.
Right.
Or whatever. So we don't know how one flesh works
True.
in the resurrection.
The only reason why I say well, marriage continues is because marriage started when it was all perfect. Like Eden is going to be restored. So basically, we go back to, and the awful part of that is they were vegetarians, which I'm not happy about. But my hope is that vegetables just tasted like meat back then. You know, when things were perfect. The curse of sin is vegetables taste like vegetables now. So that they're so, and this is my reading of it, is when he says they for in this age they're so those who attain to that age are neither married or given in marriage in this sense of it. Because that's kind of what the Sadducees are like, okay, we're only thinking of marriage in this sense, because this is all they believe. So the Sadducees are saying, how does this marriage work in the resurrection? Because they don't believe in that. So in their heads, it's a non-starter. It doesn't exist anyway. So when Jesus comes and he explains it, he says, look, yeah, things are different from this age to the resurrection. You know, it changes. Marriage in this age is not like what it's going to be in the resurrection. Are people going to be married?
We don't know.
I mean, I would assume, because that's what, in the sense that God brings a man and woman together. Sure. I mean, he told Adam and Eve to be fruitful and multiply. I mean, do we get the same, like in the resurrection? Do we have the same mandate? It's like, well, I mean, I don't know if God's going to be like, all right, now that we're all here, no more kids. Which on one hand is like, ooh. But I mean, on the other hand, it's like, well, that sucks. But I would say that's probably not, because you have even just the witness throughout the Gospels where the kids are like running around Jesus and everybody else is like, get them away, and Jesus is like, no, these are the one, bring them to me. Jesus likes kids.
So we all go back to our childhood.
Yeah, maybe we'll all be the
Yeah,
kids. That'd be cool.
Maybe. Oof. Who knows? It'll be better. whatever this is better.
You get old enough to go back to your childhood anyway.
Yeah, some of us are already there. I don't know if you've seen my
Some of
office.
us never left.
I want to be 6. I want to be 6 again.
Yeah. I got Aiden and Lily 2 Christmas Lego sets, and I'm looking at them like, ooh, do I have to let them play with those?
Do they know this?
Oh yeah. I don't try to surprise anymore that much. It's too much effort. So anyway, that's the whole marriage component, and ultimately he's not making a comment on marriage. He's making a comment on the resurrection.
So we could possibly even infer that in this world you could say whatever you want to insert as part of this finite existence. We didn't know what it was like before the fall. We're not going to know what it's really like after with the resurrection.
Yeah.
But the fact is, the Sadducees are denying the resurrection. So
Right.
Jesus was just saying, "Hey guys, you are really wrong."
Yeah, and so they're trying to make this point. So Jesus begins by saying, like, look, you don't understand. Like your basic idea is Islam, because like you're trying to use this law of marriage to talk about a resurrection that you don't even believe in. So here, let me tell you what it's like, because I was there. I was there when we started this whole project. I started this whole project. And then he says, but that the dead are raised. So back to the resurrection. Even Moses showed in the passage about the bush. Which is kind of fun in the original text. It kind of it's he's kind of like but that the dead are raised, with Moses and the bush thing. It's very kind of like it's a one word. It's like, the bush. Everybody knows about the bush. Where he calls the Lord the God of Abraham, God of Isaac, God of Jacob. He's not the God of the dead, but the God of the living, for all live to him. And the scribes are like, ooh, you've spoken well. So the Sadducees probably were not sold on that one. They're like, but the scribes were like, oh, got him there. So it's actually kind of a fun little interaction. But then, and the fun thing that I point out in the message is that they're like, Moses didn't believe in the resurrection. So what does that mean? Is Moses dead or alive? For the Sadducees. If there's no resurrection, Moses is dead. 6 months before this conversation, who is Jesus talking to up on the mountain? Moses. He's like, dude's not dead, just talk to him.
Is there anything in Moses' words that ever point to Jesus?
Oh,
But
sure.
there is in all the other books.
Well, Moses himself, points to Jesus. God will raise up a leader. Absolutely.
We
Everything's.
really don't know whether what he believed in.
Oh, sure. Sure we do.
I mean, he definitely did not believe in the resurrection, or
No, he did. He did. No, and that's the point. The Sadducees are saying he didn't.
right.
The Sadducees
Oh, okay.
are saying Moses didn't believe. Jesus is saying Moses most certainly believed. I'm sorry, yeah.
Yeah, I got confused.
Oh, no. No, Jesus is saying Moses certainly believed in the resurrection because he believed God, and God said, I am the God of the living, not the dead. And if I'm the God of Abraham, then Abraham lives. If I'm the God of Isaac, Isaac lives.
Thank you.
And even the fact that they're even using Moses is kind of fun because, Moses died, but, where's his body? Nobody knows. So it's like Moses died, but there's we don't have a body. So even though Moses died, there's still kind of this hint of, and yet he's not there. See, that's why like Jesus, they go to the tomb, he's not there.
God buried him.
Right.
But nobody knows where.
Right. God took care of him. So yeah, the fact that Moses, they don't know for sure where he's at. And that Jesus actually had a full-on conversation with him. And talking about the Exodus into Jerusalem.
So in other words, the Sadducees are.
Oh yeah, they're just. I don't know if I made the final cut in the sermon or not, but I described them as spiritual but not religious. Very, very I believe this but not that. I believe this but none of that. Yeah, they just.
They're all talking to a show.
Pretty much. They're not even allowed to talk. Yeah. So, you'll probably still be married in the resurrection. I hope that's good news to you all. If not, I will be here in the office all week.
Wait a minute, say that again? We were gonna be married in heaven too?
In the resurrection. In heaven, well, maybe heaven is maybe we're on a break. I don't know.
Don't we get a break?
I thought we loved it.
You know what? You're gonna have to take that one up with the big guy. I got nothing.
I'm counting on what he designed in creation was good, because all this other stuff has been
Yeah, but it's see, this is a good marriage text because it gets very real with marriage. So it's not like, oh, marriage is love. It's like, no, marriage is boxes you in and forces you to. It's like, yeah, but that's not a bad thing. It's like it'd be like, okay, so telling you can't tell your kids don't play in traffic. It's like, well, of course you tell your kids not. That's a good boundary. That's a good box to put them in. Don't run out in front of cars. So, love your wife, love your husband. Don't do things that are make these vows, hold to them. The whole concept of vows is because we screw this up, we need vows. When your marriage day, on your marriage day, you don't think you need vows because you're in love. Oh, I don't need to vow this. I love this person. Talk to me in 8 years.
Or 10 minutes.
or midway through the reception. You are not shoving that cake in my face.
Love your neighbor, even if it's your wife.
Oh yeah. All right. Anything else? Cool. This will be the bedrock for our little marriage retreat. Come to Jesus moment.